Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2, The Shadow and the Blade, where today we are shanking some dwarves. I know, it's hard to believe, but that is in fact what it has come to. So I'm debating here how many charges of Menace Below we want to buy. So we could move forward into the next turn with a fair amount of food, maybe? Let's see, at the beginning of the turn, we're going to consume actually just a huge amount of food, like a ridiculously huge amount. It's like 60 food. And we are going to make, so okay, we're going to be negative. I don't know why they show the total net change, but they don't show what the positive and negative actually are. All added up beforehand. So let's see, it would be 40 in and about 60 out. So if we end the battle over 20, we will carry some food into the next turn. I think it's probably... We could probably afford to buy a few Menace Below charges and still come out of this with over 20 food. And maybe an extra vial of warp fuel. I guess we don't really have a hugely pressing need for food, though, right? Because we're negative enough that it's still the case we're not going to be able to stockpile into values that push us up out of starving for food. And the only thing we're probably going to be using warp fuel on that's, like, important at all is buying more warp rockets, which we can't do until we have 4 vials anyway. So I guess I don't care about food. I guess we just, like, mash the button. Alright, let's go ahead and do the thing. I think we should be able to do this. The catapult situation is non-ideal, but I think we should be able to do this. The gyrocopters are probably not really a threat to us. They do have an awful lot of guns themselves, which could be a problem. It's definitely something we'll have to take into account. Okay, we won one whole extra point of magic there. So they started way up front. Unfortunately, you can't keep an enemy unit selected. So ordinarily what I would do is like click on our own catapult and then move the camera around to check its range. Here we have to do this and then just eyeball it. So it's going currently to just behind where my siege stuff is set up now. I guess we ought to move the whole army back, right? Like, there's no sense in not getting our reinforcements. I guess the biggest danger here is that they could just wait us out, right? I am the one who has to go to them. And in fact, we're gonna take the whole damn army except for you guys and just move back behind. There's no reason for the rest of us to be in front of the siege stuff. Alright, first of all, hooray, we get to do this now. Very excited about that. And then, unfortunately, I think we're just waiting for a minute here. They're probably not going to advance, is my guess. Yeah. That's smart. It's smart for them not to. We're going to wait until all of our reinforcement units are in, and then we'll start to move up toward them, which is unfortunately the only way this is going to go. But I don't think it made sense to start in firing range, because, like, we should get the rest of these garbage units up. Alright, so we want to approach with the worst units in front to absorb the first volleys, right? So basically, that's these suckers. Sorry guys, you pulled human shield duty. These ones we might actually have some use for. And then I'm going to also make sure that our globadiers are up in like the gunline area. And then basically we're just going to march the whole column forward a little bit. Actually, what is the range on their catapult? 440, which is well above the range of my catapult. Oh, it is just slightly above the range of the Warp Lightning Cannon, but they did not set their troops up in such a way that the catapults are the furthest thing forward. So I'm wondering about having the Warp Lightning Cannon move up to just barely in range of their front line, firing off a shot or two and seeing if we can get them to adjust up into us. Because we totally might be able to. Let's give it a shot. should just be these guys. So how much space are we looking at here? It's quite a bit. It's quite a move up. We'll try it, like, here. And the rest of the army just has to move with them. Probably, like, roughly maintaining the setup we had before. Alright, not you guys. Don't actually move forward. Because if we can get our catapults in a steady spot and make the enemy move up, if we can get this shot off, like just at the edge of Warp Lightning Cannon range, and get them to decide they need to move up to come to us, then once they start moving their catapults up, we can also move our catapults up, and then hopefully there will be no period where they are firing at us while we're walking forward with our siege stuff, because that's a thing that would really suck. Okay, so how far off are we? Like, a lot, actually. Let's move the whole army up to here. This is giving us lots of time to make sure that the Winds of Magic bar is full, which is a pretty big mistake on their part. I know that technically it's on me to make this happen, but if they don't believe that we're going to let the timer run out, they really ought to engage. Because letting me build up charges here is just like bad. It's just bad play. Okay, I definitely did not move us up far enough. Let's see exactly how not far enough I did it. Alright, we are locked in, and it's close. It's closer. Let's try, like, that. That ought to be good. I could tell the Warp Lightning Cannons just to move forward until, if I just right-clicked, the Warp Lightning Cannons would move forward to just barely in range. But the thing is, I want to make sure that the whole army is moving forward in formation. Because once their catapults start moving up, we have to respond to that, like, immediately. Sorry if it seems like I'm being real, if I'm doing this in a way that feels real fiddly, but, like, it's pretty important that we get this right to maximize our advantage here. Because we are, unusually, outgunned. That's probably good enough that we could just right-click with the Warp Lightning Cannons, but we'll even... It's like a little bit more, y'all. Okay, the Warp Lightning Cannons should definitely fire at will now. We are just close enough, apparently, for this not to have worked the way I wanted. Well, that's a shame. So we are in fact going to have to just... All of that work for nothing. Alright, you guys just have to move up to, like, here to be in range. And we also may as well just move the rest of the army up, right? Alright, ignore the rest of you, but just, like, get on up here. If some of us are in range, you know, all of us are in range. Okay. And we do have the option of dropping a Doom Rocket here. I'd really like to not do that, in case it wasn't clear. But, yeah, we totally could. And obviously I'm waiting on the Menace Below charges until the enemies are not 100% present. What's the range on that? It's pretty great, but it's not great enough, probably. Yeah, I don't want him to run all the way up there. Okay, let me re-examine exactly how we're doing this. Wait a minute, are those catapult shots? Okay, yes. For a second there I was like, those don't look large enough to be catapult fire. I'm gonna have these guys just kind of like move around erratically. Try to dodge some catapult nonsense. Then I should probably target the enemy siege stuff, or do we actually want to start focusing on their thunderers? Because the big problem is going to be when their gun line gets up to us, right? I guess for right now... Sorry, what am I doing? Shoot at the one that is on your side. Yeah, for right now, just do this thing. Warp Lightning Cannon can move up and get that guy, and then we just need to convince them to move forward so that we can start summoning Menace Below charges on them. And I think probably the way to do that is to move the gunners also up into range. Guys, just move back, just try to like be a little unpredictable. Right, because if we move the gunners into range, then we are creating a situation where they have to respond. And our Jezzails certainly outrange their stuff. I don't know, move forward at least this far. You guys able to fire, or expecting? There we go. I was expecting volleys. Fighting at this range is definitely advantageous for us. I mean, if they just want to stand back and wait, we totally win this fight. Because of the fact that my Jezzails are going to pick their units apart. I'm a little surprised by this, but let's let it play out for a moment. We are hitting their siege equipment. We're doing some incidental damage to units that are near the siege equipment because accuracy is a problem. And they're not really getting the same level of value. Move you up here. Once they start moving forward, we can move our own melee forward, but for right now, I'm content to just keep doing this thing. You'd have to get that much... I mean, I should probably do this, right? Say, like, where are the units I'm most worried about? I guess it's really just gunners. So drop it where it's going to hit a lot of gunners. The way they're spaced out, I can't really hit more than one unit of gunners with it, really. I think that's an okay movement range. Even if he does come in range of their guns just for a moment to drop the stones, I think it's okay. I'm pretty sure he'll be... Oh yeah, he'll be well clear. Those rocks did not quite as much damage as I was hoping. Alright, they seem to have realized that they need to fight us or they're going to die. You can see the siege, the grudge thrower crew that the Warp Lightning Cannon was shooting at are actually moving forward now because they have to, they have realized that, all of their siege equipment is broken. Like I said, Warp Lightning Cannon's actually pretty good at that thing. Maybe not in front of the gunners yet, but get closer. And it looks like we'll be using our Menace Below charges in a slightly different way than I had planned, probably. I feel comfortable putting one up here. And let's swap catapult targeting, definitely focused on the gunners. Warp Lightning Cannons can start picking at the flyers. We probably are going to have our rattling guns start aiming sideways pretty soon here, too. Just start picking those guys up. Now remember, this is not the School of Magic that gives us access to the Howling Warp Gale, unfortunately. So we will not be able to hold them in place, but we might not have to. And in fact, we might not even need the rattling guns to focus on them. It kind of looks like it's under control. We successfully got a bunch of their guns to stop and turn around and shoot at a thing that doesn't really matter. So that's pretty good for us. The rattling guns do not need to be told what their job is. They understand. This is probably a good time for some magic. This is an okay time for a plague or something. Or I guess... Well, let's start with a fireball. Again, remember, magic resistance and stuff, it is probably going to make a lot of sense to use buff spells rather than damage spells. But Plague's not all that expensive, even when overcast. Let's just see. Let's see how good it is. Also, it has a cool animation. You know, cool, like a big scary wireframe rat. It's hard to tell exactly how much of that damage is coming from the Plague and how much of it is coming from the guns. Alright, just make yourselves a nuisance. And the time has come, melee troops. Get in there and smash some stuff, and we'll reorient the guns afterward. Probably should have had them all move up at the same time. And the garbage troops also... Actually, to be perfectly honest, in terms of this army being in position to go conquering, better to move the chaff up first. Let's have you guys run along the side, have you guys move up along this side, and we'll just... Like, we can... I am almost certain we can just run up here and start mauling Thunderers. I don't think their melee troops are going to be able to turn around and do anything about it. We might want to actually like have these guys wing out to the flanks, because they're going to have a hard time finding straight shots anymore. This would be a good time to start blessing our troops with the old filth. Why let the enemies have combat stats when you could simply not let them have combat stats? Alright, we should also probably wither... It's an awfully large area of minus armor for us. Have him move forward so that he's in a better position to... shoot fireballs without having to shoot them through my own units. Actually, what am I doing? Those guys are in melee already. We don't care about them. Alright, that should cause a good distraction over there. Try to keep this guy off of the Doom Flayers for a minute. Oh wait, sorry. Wrong units. Boy, that didn't work at all. Guys, do the thing. You know, kill the enemies. Okay, let's send about 15 units of Storm Vermin over there. Probably that's probably not, like, totally necessary. The enemy lord has gotten in contact with our wizard. We're going to knock him down with a fireball and then run away. Nope, we're not going to knock it. Okay. Well, apparently you guys don't feel that that fireball was very important. It was important to me, though, damn it. Think of how disappointed I must be. Let's just throw some bodies at these lords to keep them engaged. I think everything else is dead, right? Like, it's just their characters at this point. Alright, here's what we're going to do over here. Let's try to fan out a little bit and give the guns the opportunity to shoot this guy. Over here, we're going to renew the filth. And... we probably want to do kind of a similar thing on this side with the guns, so I don't really want to have my my melee mob this guy any more than he is already mobbed. I kind of want to move the gunners up, and we'll try to open up an angle on him once it makes sense to do so. Okay, absolutely do not do that. I don't know why you thought run into melee was the order I was giving you. Is it an unevenness of the ground thing? Yeah, maybe. There we go. See, as soon as we open up the angle a little bit, all of a sudden everything's great. Oh right, this is a ghost. We should like use magic damage on the ghost. Most of them... Actually, it seems like maybe this is the only guy who's still fighting. And probably not for very long. No, sorry, it's not the only guy. So you lot should shoot at him. Where'd the other unit of gunners go? Oh, they never actually moved out of melee. I gave them that order, but they must have gotten a little bit stuck. It happens. We can, of course, just wait until the fireball is available again, because that will totally do the job. Okay. There we go. That guy is also in some trouble. Get him! He's in the open. Okay. Managed to shoot a ghost to death. Really, really fantastic job, everyone. You would think that they would not be super vulnerable to bullets, but I guess our bullets are kind of magic. They're made out of a magical material, at the very least. Now, the ghosts don't actually have a vulnerability to magic, but ethereal units almost always have considerably lower health than a physical unit of the same type, and all of their extra toughness comes from the physical resistance. So it's like magic is dealing bonus damage, because it's dealing normal damage against a much smaller than usual health pool. Alright, I overdid it on the food. I thought I might be overdoing it on the food, but I also really wanted to make sure that we took that one home with some level of authority. Because remember, now we need to take advantage of the fact that we've broken the front. Remamute has to be in position to, get out there and fight. It would be really cool if we could take back, I can't remember its name now, but the minor settlement in Myrmidon's province. Part of my brain is saying Dvorak. I'm pretty sure it's not Dvorak. Oof. That is a very small amount of replenishment. Alright, we'll take the leadership buff instead. Alright. Remamute causes terror when fighting against dwarves. This is almost completely useless, because this terror only really has an effect when you're in melee range. Or I believe when you're actually engaged in melee, which is a thing that, we're hoping he will not be ever doing. Envoy of the Council is actually pretty compelling. I think we might want that. But we don't want it right now. What we want right now is the other level of Wither, which makes it minus 60 armor. Because that's a thing we're going to be using against the dwarves all the time. And then I guess we'll just chase him as best we can. Unfortunately, he fled very effectively. Alright, we were in the middle of a turn there. So okay, this was the turn where we did all this attacking. These guys are done for. Do we want to ride over and just harass? Because we could assault the units in this army. They're already not very good. I'm trying to think what else could we do that would be at all relevant here. I guess we could just remove this character from the battlefield in an attempt to stop him from doing the same thing to me. In fact, he is permanently murdered. Great murder. Yeah, that way he doesn't assault us right before we get attacked. Ikich. Keep eyes on you know what? It was close. I was close. Keep eyes on that, I guess. Go throw out an assault. Nope, never mind. You're tired. Yeah, just sit. And then we're just on buildings? Is that right? Yeah, because Biofitch is still recruiting. Okay. If we're going to be talking about upgrading buildings, there are some places where we have priorities. Like that. That's a pretty good building. Are there any improvements that need to be made in Altdorf? Not really. I think the final upgrade to Tier 5 on Altdorf itself is cool, but it's also very expensive. This should get properly defended, and then we should just put in another money-making building. Okay. More money. More money always and forever. And once Marienburg gets to Tier 4, we'll build the bonus garrison building and upgrade it to have the catapult in it. Yeah, that makes sense. We'll be making some decent money off of that. We have Biofitch available to respond over here if we want, I suppose. And then, if not, somebody's got to go back to Val's Anvil, soon. A couple of turns left on that. All right. I'm not going to say that I'm happy about our position, but I'm happier, certainly. It's better than it was. I forgot that battle that Remamute was having was not during the enemy turn, because I'm so used to our fights with the dwarves being in the enemy turn. Lothern has allied with Talsin. In a way, like, what is the benefit of that for Lothern? I guess it could be the case that they plan to make a confederation happen. Actually, no, they probably can't, because they're not. Although they are all elves, they're probably not actually able to. Apparently that impassable terrain is totally passable for dwarves. You absolutely cannot just walk through those forests, by the way. That's I'm reasonably sure. Maybe it was changed. Well, this is not great for us. We're going to lose all our food at the beginning of the turn anyway, so we may as well. Since we know there is a 20-point deficit between our food and our food income and our food outgo. Interesting composition. So they have a flame cannon, which is a very dangerous thing, but does only have 230 range. The organ gun is also much shorter ranged. Their cannons have that good range, though, and like the Warp Lightning gun, they will be good at actually destroying the catapults. They also have a bunch of flamethrowers in this army. I'm not a huge fan of the Iron Drakes in general, but they should be very, very good against massed up Skaven. Well, the gyrocopters, this army is much more melee heavy, which is probably pretty bad for us, actually. It wouldn't be a huge problem to lose Vomik's army. The important parts of it, Vomik and the Warp Engineer, are immortal. And a lot of the troops are actually regiments of renown, and we are not even able to really lose them. But it would pose something of an organizational challenge for us. I'd really like not to, if we can avoid it. To the point that I am definitely willing to pay I am willing to pay the Doom Rocket, if that's what it takes. Let's see here. Now, they are probably going to do the same thing we did, where they wait back and try to gather reinforcements, and I would like it if they were unsuccessful. So we're gonna start way up here, and we're gonna move in on them at the beginning of the battle. Then, I don't know, whoever's left, just like... Okay. This is gonna be a real nightmare. Did they set up pretty far back in their zone? They sure did. Yep. It is not beneficial to us to wait for them to come forward. I do like the fact that this terrain is so uneven. That's going to make their cannons a lot harder to use. Let's try to get the whole army... I guess I could have just Control-A'd this. Let's try to get the whole army up into this valley. Hold on a second. Since we did go to the trouble of already giving them proper orders, we'll just have everybody else do this. Now, cannons do have the ability to fire indirectly. They are not 100% bound to direct fire in the way that, like, a lightning cannon is, but it's still tricky. And, like, this hill might be enough to make their lives difficult. I hope that we're close enough for our catapults to do their thing. We probably don't want to Doom Rocket just to try to disrupt their stuff, because I want to have that Doom Rocket available for killing a ton of melee, because they are going to have a ton of melee. We are going to need all the help we can get on that front. If we end up having to move the catapults up onto the hill or even further forward, which it looks like is probably going to be the case, that's phenomenally bad for us, because that'll make us, like, prime cannon targets. I guess, though, we could just take this position up, since it's taking so long for us to move up anyway. We could take this position up and then just wait for them to come forward, because it looks to me like we're not going to. We've already failed to cut them off from their reinforcements. Have the Doom Wheel scout targets a little bit. And the catapults actually still have a significant amount of forward movement to do. Maybe we'll be... I don't know. Maybe we'll be okay. It's like they're planning to keep an eye on us with their gyrocopters. Also, those gyrocopters are just going to slowly fly up until they get to this ledge where undoubtedly there is a secret of some kind available. I'm going to have the mortars stop firing. Does not help us at all for those guys to shoot at gyrocopters, rather. Oops, sorry, no, not you. You move forward. We're going to draw a little bit of fire here, but trying to get vision of the rest of the enemy army. Because our catapults totally could be doing work here. Alright. I'm going to summon up the first unit of Menace Below here just to give us targeting information. We need the intel to come from somewhere. And you guys... Oh boy. Yeah, somewhere over here. This is a nice thick formation of enemies. I'm a little worried about... Actually, yeah, they can't hit that angle. We're going to have to wait for the enemies to get a little bit closer to us, unfortunately. We can shoot the flame cannon for the moment, though. I mean, honestly, this might be Doom Rocket territory right here. It's so hard to know if they're actually going to still be there, though, by the time I fight. Because, like, they might not choose to just walk forward, right? I'm going to drop it. We're going to be hopeful. You could calibrate some ballistics. Nope, you're actually not close enough to the siege stuff. Alright, get over there and calibrate their ballistics. Alright, I undid this. Okay, that was pretty successful, it looks like. Their gyrocopter is doing the thing gyrocopters do, which is to say getting shot out of the sky immediately. Like, pretty overjoyed about that one. You're already shootable, I think, so I'm going to... Which one of these is my damn... There it is. Let's warp gale you real fast. He's trying. He's coming over here. He'll get over here in a second. Actually, they're not even really moving forward. Oh, they're trying. Gyrocopters are almost dead. Calibrate. Okay, gyrocopters are dead enough. Those ones, anyway. Let's have the rest of the gun units quickly burn down the gyrocopter with the brimstone gun. And unfortunately, we're just going to have to start moving melee up a little bit earlier on this side, because we have to make sure that the gunners have the time to do the thing. You guys, also, I forgot to put back on fire at will mode. Do that, but first back up. We managed to blow out like 6 or 7 enemy units with that Doom Rocket, which is better than we probably could have hoped for, and we're actually getting a lot of free firing time out of, what do you call it? Out of the Menace Below charge that we used there. Like, a lot of enemies got very distracted. Alright, let's buy him some time. I'm not particularly hopeful on this one. I think we're probably in really bad shape. Alright, brimstone guns are getting mowed down pretty quickly. They did manage to get a wave of bombs off, which obviously is not ideal. And we have a set of dudes to summon. I would like to summon dudes hereabouts. Make that flame cannon a thing of the past. Also, spells. Let's cast some spells. Yeah, melee attack up at this crucial moment. Let's try to break the enemies if we can. Warlock Engineer should maybe back up like a step. Vomit should maybe go forward, because we probably need to kill these guys as quickly as we can. Some buffs that we can give out. And yeah, I think Vomit needs to just wade in there and start chopping people up. Now that those dudes are a thing of the past, what are we going to do with you? It's hard to know exactly where we're safe to go with the gun units. Because there's so many enemies, they really have a lot of options as far as movement. We have some poison coming out. We should probably distribute the poison guys over the battlefield a little bit better. Just thinking that we for sure need to be distributing the poison debuff to as many different units as possible. Let's have the poison mortars shoot at those guys. I'm a little worried. Once he has moved back, it is time for more spells. Great big death frenzy. Everybody, frenzy as hard as you possibly can. Okay, we're losing a front immediately. I think the Doom Wheel is not doing as well in melee as I would have hoped. They have created for us a front, though. Where we can, or a side, a flank, rather, which is sort of the opposite of a front, for us to fire into. And it looks like we're doing pretty well on this side. The side where the best melee troops are, unsurprisingly, has gone pretty well. Let's have the death dealers maybe move out this way. We're definitely having some flamethrower-related issues, though. Can we retarget a little bit? I didn't actually select. There we go. Can we retarget a little bit on these Iron Drakes? This is probably a good focus for the moment. Or the cannons. The cannons matter too. We can do this on the cannons. That'll help at least a little bit. And it looks like we've done some alright work on the flame cannon. We've at least distracted them. Yeah, we'll have the second unit catapults go here. I think we're going to lose. We got caught off guard by the fact that that forest, I swear to you, once upon a time that forest was impassable. It's going to start firing any second now. Alright, the units that we held back in reserve need to no longer be reserve units. Okay, there goes the gunfire. Poison wind mortars doing pretty okay damage. It looks like we've mostly broken the enemies over here. Vomit is not to be messed with. They do have a flamethrower, though. Or more accurately, like a whole bunch of flamethrowers. This is only going to affect those slingers, but it's still good to use it. I think we can probably do this pretty safely. Doom Wheel has failed to escape, but actually is now winning, so it's fine. Make sure you guys are moving up. We're going to need some help over here. Vomit might need to reposition to this side, actually. Yeah, because as things are now, this whole side is dead. We need to supplement their combat prowess with magic on account of they don't have any combat prowess. So we basically need this whole deal to be magic over here. I guess we already have one catapult crew firing at those guys. And we actually don't have any melee left on this side. I didn't realize how bad this had gotten over here. All of the melee crew ran. I mean, I guess I'm not super shocked. Flamethrowers and stuff. Units generally do not like to get flamethrowered and stuff. Pretty sure I told you to cast a spell. Okay, we're seeing some breakage. Seeing some people panic. There's some suffering occurring. Let's get a little bit closer. And then activate that. Our buddies here could use some help. You guys should be firing right here. Or maybe right here. Stay focused. Don't get distracted by miners. Alright. These guys I brought up here to do some shooting, and they're not able to do a lot of shooting because things have worked out a little bit funny with the hill angle. So the question is, do we advance them to here, have them fire forward, but then we have like an awkward flank we have to protect, or do we just have them fire into troops that are far less consequential than I would like? Also, this is under control, so you guys should probably re-target to that guy. Kill their lord. Kill their lord seems good. Vomik is kind of getting his ass handed to him just a tiny bit. He did break the unit he was fighting, but he needs to back the hell up. And then we have to put up... Boy, where do we put you? I guess around here makes sense. Just got to get them to stop firing. I think we are going to have this guy break those dudes, which should be a pretty fast process. And then once those dudes are broken, we can have them turn and fire on more consequential foes. Oh hey, the Doom Wheel finally did the thing I told it to do so long ago. Break those guys down. Getting a lot of good surrenders going, though. Wait a minute, are they actually breaking? Yo, the battle was not over. You guys were fine. Honestly, maybe even winning at that moment. We didn't even kill their lord. What happened? It must have just been like one of those cascade leadership failures where like enough units broke close enough together that they all had enough leadership debuffs on them that they just shattered. But yeah, that I don't think they were losing yet. I think it was possible that we could have gotten to them losing. But I was still, like, pretty nervous. I guess we killed a lot of the Hammerers pretty quickly. Like, look at how healthy their supply of Iron Drakes are. And we had done basically nothing to the archers and stuff. I'm going to go ahead and eat captives here. Ah, they brought me quite a bit of money. That's a huge embarrassment for them, the number of troops they devoted to that. That really, like, really horrible outcome. I don't want to overstep, but things are going really well for us. Also, somehow there's a dwarf faction that's... oh. Okay, this is actually smart. I was not thinking about this. So what they've done here is they sieged the city that Ikit Claw is standing in with some of their armies, with one of their garbage armies, and then they attacked Infectique with a different garbage army, which means that the units in the city can't come out and fight because they're hemmed in. And unfortunately, units that are sieging and preventing my guys from coming out are allowed to show up to the battle as reinforcements, even though doing so would mean that my army could just follow behind them. So we unfortunately just have to back off here. If they were to just attack... Yeah, I was going to say. If they were to just use all those units to attack Ikit Claw's army in Kemperbad, I think he kills them all. But they certainly can make us back up. Yeah, I don't know where those orcs came from, but... You know, it's nice to see you. Please, feel free to take over all that territory. I think I would have a hard time holding it, so... And the Bjornlings are coming up in the bay. Are we at war with the Bjornlings? We might be. It's not necessarily the case that we're friendly just because we have common enemies. But we do have common enemies. So hold on, let me jump down here. I am not at war with the Bjornlings. How do they feel about me? They love all of the murder that I do. They're huge fans of the murdering. Okay. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to make pacts or ally with them because it's just going to make everybody in the world hate us even more. But I also don't think there's any chance they attack us. So that works out pretty well. Does Remamute chase this army down? How close are we to full health? Actually pretty close. I kind of think, though, with the Bjornlings coming up, and they're definitely at war with the dwarves, right? Yes. Yeah, with the Bjornlings coming up, I think we take a turn to just chill at the border here. Enjoy one more turn of that good replenishment. Or I guess we could even, we could move forward as long as we can stay in, encampment mode. It's not as much replenishment, but we get to be a little closer. Now, you know what? This is stupid. Just stand right on my side of the border. It's not even far enough forward to make a difference. Okay. We'll follow the Bjornlings in. Let the Norskins wreak havoc, and then we'll just clean up whatever remains. Okay. Who else? Well, Vomik, obviously. So Vomik did lose his Regiment of Renowned Storm Vermin. He could pick up the Black Hole Flayers to fill that slot. I don't like how little melee he has. It makes me pretty nervous, actually. But also, you know how I feel about Doom Flayers. So good at flaying and Doom. One more turn on all this stuff. I could swear that this used to be impassable. Well, I think obviously we're gonna chase some dwarves down here. But let's make that's a thing for a moment from now. Let's start with this. What is going to be the smartest way to do this? Because we want to kill as many of these guys as possible, right? We can have Erat run over and try to wound one of the armies. Probably this one. Yeah, even exhausted, he's still got pretty close to a coin flip on that. And then, do we even bother with this guy? I guess we have to. I don't really want to, but he's preventing Infectique from being able to move forward to serve as reinforcements in the battle we actually want to do. My big concern here is that we're going to attack this guy and he's just going to back off. Oh, never mind, we ambush him. I think we probably don't need to auto-resolve this. Or we probably don't need to manually resolve this, rather. Yeah, you can't retreat if you hit your ambush roll, it turns out. And then Infectique moves forward to... That Stirland army is in march mode. So if we were to attack them, they can't run away. Volkmar the Grimm's army will be able to serve as reinforcements, but they're pretty messed up. I don't think that should be a problem. So we want you to move to, like... Can you just be in Kemperbad? Yeah, Kemperbad serves as reinforcements, so it's fine to just have these guys in there. Please don't squirt any musk. They're always talking about squirting musk. And I don't know why. Maybe it shouldn't be this way. But the fact that they say squirt upsets me way more than the fact that they're talking about their musk. That's just not the word that I want used for that thing. I don't think we have to do a lot of technique here. I'll bring in a... No, we won't. We're going to manually resolve this. The balance of power bar is red enough that I'm concerned it will deal a bunch of damage to our troops that we don't actually have to take here. We should try to minimize harm on this one. Because we should be able to just gun down a huge number of their archers, and then also all of their melee. These basic archer units are very, very weak in melee combat. Like, even more so than a lot of archers are. So where's the front? Okay. Front of the column's that way. Well, first of all, we know this is happening, right? Or maybe on this side. We have reinforcements coming in. They're coming in too far away for it to matter. And then it's just like Eshin Triads at the back, because they'll make this happen very quickly. Spears here. Some guys on this side. I don't even know who's left. I selected those dudes in a way that does not make it easy for me to pick out the rest of the remaining melee attackers. Gotta make sure we're getting the guns too. And then obviously, like, our gunners just need to find a spot to stand where they can shoot everything. Also, I'm fine with, yeah, 20's okay. Don't need to gamble that. Catapults could just kind of be anywhere. Far away, obviously, is good. Behind the enemy column might be the optimal place. How deep does that let you reach? Oh, almost the entire way. Warp Lightning Cannon also back here. It's pretty good open shot. And then, do we want to just put all the gunners right here? I wish we could start a little closer to the backside. This terrain's a little awkward. We could have the gun teams up here, I guess. Just we probably don't need to shoot at their ranged at all. We have the gun teams up here. We have to reassign some of the melee, probably, to make sure that their melee don't just get to run directly into us. Actually, it turns out I had a couple of units right here. I bet this works. I bet this is enough. We'll grab like 2 more units and have them post up nearby. Oh wait, sorry, I don't want to select all of you at the same time. Yeah, we'll do this. And then we'll have magic and stuff over here as well. This should be fine. Because I'm sure we have enough damage focused back here. Let's just give those initial orders. Make sure that basically people are accounted for. I mean, this is going to turn into a big ball of death, so we don't have to stress too much about it. We do want probably the catapults to be firing a little bit deeper into the formation, so the ranged troops are under control. You guys move up like here, approach, but don't cause a problem for our targeting. You guys just do what you do. And obviously we can get off a pretty early brass orb here to keep them from fleeing very effectively. Now, actually, do I need to move the rattling guns up a little bit? I might need to, because the uneven ground is going to be such a huge pain. Oh, they're taking up the stance. Okay. Everything's fine. They're focusing a lot on the enemy lord immediately, which I appreciate. Nice to fight an enemy who's not magic immune. Or not magic resistant, even. Wild how many of the ranged units seem to have completely escaped their attackers. You might want to have him turn around, make sure that this the range stuff gets worked out. Also, catapults maybe need to retarget, because we are definitely having some firing into my own units type problems. Listen, it's not a big deal. I understand how things work. Sometimes you gotta shoot a friendly Skaven. There's a whole bunch of reasons that might happen. Okay, do some of this. You guys are definitely here to get fired into on purpose. We could probably do a little bit of lightning. Trying to figure out, where do I think we actually need it? What are you guys doing? I thought I had given you orders. I can't really tell what the enemy ranged is doing. They're running around in ways that don't make a lot of sense to me. Okay, those guys. Keep working here. Okay. We do also have reinforcements that I should probably give some commands to, not that it matters very much. All of you guys... I don't even know who is in the reinforcement army. Just get over here. Well, probably not the catapults. Catapults, shoot those guys? I don't know. Did we catch the archers on this side? Yeah, we did. Alright, I think we should be pretty engaged over there. You guys can shoot these two dudes. It looks like we maybe don't even really need to do this. Your gun units are going to engage Ikit Claw in melee, which is questionable. These are just normal swordsmen. Yeah, I don't need to pull those away from the flayers. That is not a real concern. Alright, there we go. I think we're starting to see... Yep, there's the break. Alright, we did take some melee damage. Did I outperform the auto-resolver is the real question. Maybe. Yeah, 186 losses. I probably did. Damage is really, like, concentrated on a couple of clan rat units, which is easy enough to deal with in future manual battles, because you just have them be the ones who go in second. This is going to mean that we can clean the rest of these guys up in the area pretty easily. Continue to take the replenishment. And we didn't quite have to cross the river to do that, which is very good news. Grab these guys. And this is the last battle of the turn for this army. Yeah, wow. Look at how much damage the auto-resolver did to us there. Can you... May as well finish it. Ooh, Scrying Stone. More ambush success chance. Not that we need any more loot for that. Alright, and then Ikit Claw can just go and reclaim Grunberg, right? Hold on a second. Before I have him do that, how safe... We gotta do some other things to make sure that that is a safe thing to do. So basically, I gotta hunt down some armies. I mean, we basically just go straight at them. I don't know if there's a lot of strategy to employ here. There's a little bit of strategy to employ in the battles themselves, because obviously we do need to be a little bit cautious about how we do this. These are going to be manual battles, I think, because we can't afford to lose any more units here than we absolutely have to. I don't think the battles are going to be long enough for us to use more than 6 menace below charges, though. I'm really, really hoping we come out of this big fighting turn with a whole lot of warp fuel, though. So we really have broken up the enemy formation pretty badly. We killed all of the Empire and Stirland armies that we could see. All of the Reichland and Stirland armies that we could see, rather. This'll be all 5 of those Dwarven armies, right? I think once we finish this move, we will have removed all 5 of the Dwarven armies. Which means that we have re-established local control. Now, how long we can hold local control is another question entirely, because obviously there will be more waves from all of these forces. But that's a near future problem. We gotta focus on the right now. Right now. Just like Dark Helmet always says. Okay, I'm fairly confident with that stuff. We don't need any of this. You guys, you should start right here. Vomik took some real damage during the last battle. But I think in this case, we probably just want to approach entirely from the back, right? There's not a lot of ranged that we need to focus on. I guess if we all push in from the back at the same time, the Iron Drakes are going to be able to do some horrible, horrible things. So I should probably have somebody up here. Any melee that we put in, I'm so worried that they're just going to immediately die, though. Alright, we're going to put some of these guys right... Yeah, really concerned about putting half-health Eshin Triad units so close to the Dwarf melee. And I know they're not exactly in great shape, but it's still terrifying. We're going to have to make, like, absolutely sure we break the melee up quickly. You guys definitely just distribute yourselves along here and stay in skirmish mode. And then who's left? We haven't done anything with our Doomflayers. We haven't done anything with the Plague Pack, who are great, but we have to be like pretty careful about having them die. That said, maybe the right thing to do with them is like put them here and have all these guys move up a little bit. We're going to have to attack the Iron Drakes, if only to keep them from firing backward into our massed units. We're also definitely going to have the siege stuff focused on them initially. Alright, and then wheels of various types. You guys are totally on melee disruption duty. It's an unglamorous duty that ends with a lot of blood spilled. These triads can, I don't know, do something. Okay, make sure that we are focused on the hammerers with the catapults. By far the most dangerous thing. We probably don't need to give a ton of orders to the gunners, except that we have to move them forward a little bit, I think. We couldn't really put them in the positions I wanted them in. It's not going to be terribly important that they be able to fire right away, I don't think. Then it's like, good luck, you guys. Everybody, do your best to survive this. You guys get up in the siege crew, and then also probably focus on the hammerers for the moment. What do you think the odds are flamethrower units have some sort of fire resistance? Probably not terrible, right? Oh, I forgot to have the melee units, or the cavalry units charge. Alright, explosions! There we go, this is what I was holding these Eshin Triads in reserve for. Waiting for the enemy to figure out how to get free of my nefarious plans so that we could charge into them. Alright, get in there. Okay. Nearly. Where's their lord right now? He's just in the middle of everything, killing all of my units in melee, because he is by far the best melee fighter on the field. Alright. All of you guys back out. This is a gun-type situation. We'll send in the Doomflayers to buy some time for people to escape. Actually, it looks like he has changed his mind. He no longer wishes to fight. Alright. We're probably going to have to manually fight all of these battles because I think the left to its own devices, the auto-resolver is going to kill all of our Eshin Triads. We're going to fight a bunch of these battles by just leaving all of the melee troops far away from everything. Maybe having like Vomik and the cavalry just run forward and distract dwarves a bunch. But it's really important to keep the pressure up here. We do not want to let the dwarves fall back and have time to replenish and recruit. As sad as this is, I think we need to take replenishment on every single one of these battles. Oh, got ourselves another Fellblade. I believe we lost one when we lost the previous Warlord army, so that's a good thing to have. New contract. You know what? We could probably take that auto-resolve. I bet we're fine. Yeah. So I have to say, I don't think that the dwarves' play here was necessarily incorrect on a strategic level. We could roll over and try to claim Nuln. There's obviously some danger there. These guys do have move. They just barely have movement range to Nuln. Maybe actually what Vomit does is just move back toward Grunberg. So we can get ourselves a turn of replenishment. Ikit Claw reclaims this easily. Reichland is mine once more. Obviously there's some public order issues associated with all of this changing of hands. Yeah, we just have Vomit maybe even march all the way back to Grunberg's reinforcement range. Just to make sure that the two Border Prince's armies can't pull some shenanigans on us. Alright, there we go. That army's going to be in real good shape next turn. And Infectique and do some really, really basic recruiting. Yeah. I mean, it's better than not having units. So I'm just gonna... We'll grab some total garbage. Just chaff to stand in front of all of these other units. And we can grab even more chaff from the global pool. Not ideal. When is that caster going to be available? 2 turns? Yeah, we'll go ahead and recruit all of the units there. If the caster had been available this turn, or maybe even next turn, I would have just not done one of those recruitments. Okay, what else needs to be upgraded? I guess with 14,000 gold, we can just go look through the rest of our settlements and try to find places where bells have to be upgraded. We also still have some characters. Just harass these guys, try to buy me a little bit of time here. Wait, level up off of that. Down here, Ekich can kind of do the same thing, just annoy the enemy. Probably, yeah, specialist. And then we'll start leveling up assault units. Here we probably don't really need the reduction in construction cost or the growth because we still have multiple growth buildings here. So I'm just going to go straight to exploitative planning. I don't think we actually do need the public order. I think this region has pretty good public order on turns where none of the settlements are being conquered. And then everybody's moved. Okay. Let's go down the list. We are obviously going to need some help back here pretty soon. Baston is slightly negative. We can correct that. That is totally correctable. And actually, we do need to spend a bunch of money leveling that up so that we can get the bell even higher. Lyonesse is falling. Only a little bit. Southern Grey Mountains are actually falling quite badly. We're fixing some of it. But man, I could really use just like a little bit more public order. I guess we have the population already to upgrade Carricknorn to 4, we just don't have the money. We could maybe resolve this with just this bell. But I'm wondering if maybe the smart thing to do would be to tear down one of the money buildings and build us another bell. Seven turns off of being able to do Dominating Scheme again. I forgot that the 13th scheme gives plus relations with Skaven. That could have been useful if we had had a little bit more money to devote to our diplomatic relationship with Clan Moors. I would really have liked to be... I would really... what do you call it? I would have liked to have been able to try to keep pushing stuff with them. Interesting that military actions against Karaza Karak is giving us positive relationship with them, as they broke all of their treaties. Weren't they, like, super best buddies with the dwarves? Yeah, and they still kind of are. 136 points of displeasure from broken treaties. Okay. That's very promising. In fact, it might be time to try to renew our attempts to make this relationship work. Sure, let's throw 2,000 gold at him. We'll hit that scheme, the plus 13 diplomatic relationship scheme, once that number gets closer to 0. But yeah, that's promising. I don't know what happened, but I'm very happy about it. Okay, and then like we can probably still pick up some money-making building upgrades in some places, because some of those buildings are very, very cheap. Here we can do this. Continue spending our money on attempts to make money. Also, next turn we can make more doom rockets. Definitely the thing we are doing. Like this. Even at 71 food, we're not out of 20% range. That's pretty harsh. Alright, let's run a sequence of enemy turns here and see how they retaliate. There is a dwarf army coming in from Flensburg, potentially. I don't think they'd be able to reach any of our stuff this turn. My guess is that Nagarond did not dissolve our trade agreement, but rather that they lost access to all of their ports. Probably Lothern is on the march again. Reichland is looking pretty weak relative to us. Karazakarak is not looking any weaker relative to us than they were before we killed 5 of their armies, which is a little worrying. Did those dwarf armies march south and kill the Bjornlings? Is that what just happened there? Stirland currently has no military units. I will accept peace. We just need to not be at war with everybody. And we're not in a place... If we were in a place where, like, their last settlement was on the front lines or something, I would have just marched over and killed them. But we're not in a place to finish them off, so... I would love to not see another Stirland army come out of the darkness and attack us. Alright, well, I think that was very productive. Adolphus Orr has critically failed to interfere with our plans, and he's just making Obside better at living. Vomik is always low on loyalty. Torgovan is going to freak out this turn. Let's see, Bilefitch, do you have any other spellcasting stuff to take? No, you have finally maxed out all your spellcasting stuff. He kind of has everything that's really important. We're working on Infiltrator, but do I want to go grab anything out of this area? This was all, like, personal combat stuff, right? Yeah. I guess the fear repression stimuli could be interesting. I'll make his army a little bit more stand tough, which they especially need because they're all Skaven slaves and they're terrible, terrible units. But I'm probably better off just redlining with those points. Okay, so you guys unfortunately have to underway move. Ooh, and I can't actually make it to the other side of the mountain range. Well, Torgovan is... Wait, I thought... Hold on, where am I? Okay, it's just... These are regions that only contain a single settlement, but the region is not named the same as the settlement, which doesn't make any sense at all. We do have to start building these. We may as well tax the province if we're going to have a rebellion anyway, right? And then I should probably stop. Before we key in everybody else's movements, we should probably stop for the day. That is going to be it for us for right now. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time on Monday to see if we can figure out anything productive to do with all of this momentum. And we'll see you then.